walking shoes and sensible footwear as well. We're off to find out more about the incredible story of a wondrous Wiltshire road that very few people know anything about. It's the North Wessex Way. It was the main route from Oxford to Bristol hundreds and hundreds of years ago, until it became forgotten for whatever reason. And there are reasons. Now, this time last year, a local man from Minety called David Mitchell tasked himself with investigating the whole thing, and he let us into some of our little secrets as well then. And a year on, he's found out even more about it. So he said, we've got to go back to different stretches of the road. Yesterday we were at Purton Church, which David thinks was inspired by what had been built along the road in Malmesbury. It's like the Abbey, but on a smaller scale. Now let's get walking along one of those wide footpaths that David thinks was some kind of bypass for Purton. Thank you for saying bring your boots.
Yeah.
Wow, some serious water.
As we stand on this thoroughfare across Purton Common, it's quite overgrown now. You can see brambles, but you can see right up into the distance. That photograph I showed you when it was clear, it disappears up into the distance. But if you look at our feet now, there are stones embedded in the ground. These carry on for hundreds of metres all the way up. And so at some stage, this might have been some sort of paving or curbing that would have allowed traffic to flow freely through what is quite a sort of a boggy piece of ground.
What are other explanations then? Because I love listening to whatever you tell me, David, but I suppose people will say, it might be this, it might be that, but there would be no other reason for it to be here, would it?
Well, it could be a building, but it would be a very long building. It would be hundreds of metres long. So I think it's, because they are all the way along here, and as you go over the brow of the hill and into the next fields round, there's still stonework in various places along the way there as well. So I think at some stage it was paved, or some sort of hard surface. Now, whether it was a narrow one that would allow pack horses to sort of follow in a line. In the north of England, they'd be called a trod, and you see them all over the north of England. It's just a sort of, you have a thoroughfare, but down the middle of it, you have a narrow stone area that the pack horse could go along. That could work because just around the corner here, you have Pack Horse Lane and Pack Horse Corner, where there was a pub called the Pack Horse Inn. So that gives you a sense that there were pack horses travelling this route at some stage, or whether this was curbing for something that was wider that's since been lost or robbed or whatever. At some stage, it would be great to come and dig up this and have a look and see whether, from an archaeological perspective, there's anything that could be found.
I was going to touch upon that in terms of interest. People can get onto the website, can't they?
Yes. So go to www.northwessexway.co.uk, and there's a whole page there about Purton's two bypasses. So there was the original one, and there's this one.
Greedy Purton, eh?
I think it was not so much greed. I think it's necessity.
Yeah.
You find that the outer one, which I think was probably the original Iron Age route, wouldn't have been usable for very much during the year because it flooded so much. I mean, even now it's probably underwater. So nearer the side of the hill. Now this could be, no one really knows how old this is, but it could be Roman. Purton was a very significant Roman settlement. They found the most high status Roman burial site in England in Purton when they were building the doctor's surgery. There's evidence of Roman villas here. So this would have been as a route that was used by the Romans, particularly as we're going to talk about the Minety tile kilns in the next episode. This is probably a route that the Romans were using to get tiles out of Minety. Are
you sort of a lone warrior in this at the moment, or have you got a merry band of brigands looking at the history? Do you want it to get bigger?
It's just me at the moment, but if other people are interested in helping, then I'm always happy to have help. I mean, I have to say that Purton Museum have been incredibly helpful in finding out information and giving me sort of images and pictures and maps. So there are people who are more than willing to help when I come and ask for them.
So me and David Mitchell out hiking the North Wessex Way. What did you just say to me listening into that, Rebecca?
I didn't know they made tiles in Minety.
Thousands of the things. Tens of thousands of the things.
There you go.
I can't get my head around that. So the Romans rock up, you have this image that they're sort of here for a few days and they go on somewhere else, don't they? But he was saying, it would have taken like 10 years maybe to set up a tiling industry or a tiling support network for all their different roofs in Bath and places. It is. There he is. Look at my pictures on my Instagram.
Love
David
that.
Leaning down like in a true local paper fashion. Pointing at the rutted road of which we talked about. More of that in an hour's time. So here we go.